Have you ever found yourself wondering if you just needed to hire one more coach or one more nutritionist to finally heal your gut? Or have you ever felt that maybe your diet was the reason why you weren't getting better, but you weren't sure what to do or exactly how to change it? Maybe because you've changed it so many times? Or have you ever felt overwhelmed by all the recommendations online on how to use nutrition to heal your gut, and you think maybe just hiring someone to tell you exactly what to do will fix everything? If you said yes to any of these questions, then you are just like my client, Krista. In today's episode, I'm sharing a question from one of our group coaching calls inside my private coaching group, the Better Belly Blueprint, to share with you. Today's topic is from my client, Krista, where she asked, I was just curious if you think I need someone to help me with meal planning. I'm so type A that everything I hear about health and wellness, I take to the T, and then I'm constantly worrying about my protein, or things like eating good fat but not too much, not avoiding carbs, eating more veggies, choosing fiber-rich carbs, etc. All of this is good, but I feel like I overstress about it so much that I don't even listen to my body and how it feels. In your opinion, what do I really need to dial in as far as nutrition while I'm trying to heal my gut? Krista's question comes on the heels of having made some great improvements in her health and symptoms, such as having more energy in the afternoon, being able to function perfectly with no coffee or caffeine, her bloating being down, and her distension being 50% better, and being able to fall asleep much faster throughout the night. So what she really wants to know is, would hiring a nutritionist help her heal her gut faster? This is a super common question I get, and I'm so excited to share with you my real answer to Krista today. And P.S., if you want to ask questions to me just like Krista did and get my live feedback, now you can. When you join the Better Belly Blueprint and add on group coaching for our super affordable price, you get access to live bi-weekly group coaching calls just like this one and unlimited daily one-to-one coaching inside our private Facebook group. Enrollment's open now. There's no need to wait. So go to betterbellytherapies.com/blueprint to read more about the Better Belly Blueprint and join today. Or if you prefer to learn via audio and video, go to betterbellytherapies.com/training and you can watch the free training I put together on why and how the Better Belly Blueprint helps you overcome your toughest symptoms, even when nothing else prior to this has worked. Are you ready to hear Krista's answer? Let's dive in. Hey friend, welcome to the Better Belly Podcast. If you're currently trying endless supplements, doctor visits, and diet changes to heal your mystery symptoms, you are in the right place. We're here to solve the real root causes behind your gut, hormones, skin, sleep, and brain concerns, literally anything and everything in your body. My name is Allison Jordan. I'm a functional medicine practitioner that has supported over 150 clients just like you to heal problems that no one has been able to fix. You don't need a perfect diet or a random supplement you found on Instagram to heal. You need a proven system that heals your whole body from the inside out. That's what I'm here to share with you, episode by episode. It's time to make health easy again. And just as a reminder, this information is not meant to diagnose, manage, or treat disease. Always consult with your own health practitioner before you make any changes to your health. So, Krista, can I submit your question? Are you ready?
Yes.
Cool. I'm going to put it into the comments. I'm just going to read it and then we'll get going. So, Krista says, I was curious if you need someone to help you with meal planning. You're type A, and everything you hear about health and wellness, you take to the T, and you're consistently worrying about protein, eating good fat, not too much, not avoiding carbs, eating more veggies, choosing fiber-rich carbs. All of these things can be good, but you feel like you overstress about it so much that you don't even listen to your body and how it feels. So, solution, stop doing that, right? I just love the honesty and feel like I'm just reading a private text. In your opinion, what do I really need to dial in as far as your nutrition while you're trying to heal your gut? And FYI, you're currently on the hidden copper protocol, hidden copper toxicity. You also currently are taking liver and nutrient supplements, mega mucosa, HMET binder, acid and zinc buildup, and then the copper toxicity. You have high oxalates on your oats, so you're being mindful about oxalates. So I have so many thoughts on this. I love this question because it really is, as somebody who's like can think of what my life was like before I considered myself a health professional. I was like, I'm supposed to be giving advice to people suddenly. And there was a slow transition for me in terms of niching into gut health. But before that, I was just the average person also having to stare at all these blog posts and podcasts. And one person's like, do the keto diet. Another person, do carnivore. And the person's like, you know, just do fruit. Like, have you seen this like fruit diet thing? Just eat fruit. Anyways, and I was like, how can we have so many competing concepts? And even what you shared, Krista, it's not even necessarily competing, it's just so many layers of things to think about. You're like, enough protein, the fat, the carbs, what's going on here? So I love that. I think we can almost never have this conversation too much in this group, especially because we also are somewhat moving targets when you are first joining or when you're first healing versus as you're starting to get some results or when you're further into the process. And Krista, you're further into the process where I would like to start with you because of that, because you're more into these protocols is do a quick reminder for me. What are your symptoms like right now in terms of what's improved or what's the same or potentially what's worse compared to when you came in?
Um, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. You're a little quiet, but I'm just going to
I
bump
could
my volume.
probably, let me see, I could change maybe this.
Oh. Or just, I don't know if you bring it closer to your mouth.
There, or I can just
Yeah,
talk maybe. Is
that's
that
louder.
better?
Yeah,
Okay. Um, so I came in with more just bloating pretty much after every time I eat. Like in distension. So not like it was uncomfortable, but it was also like like
bigger.
I don't know, 4 months pregnant, like a good
Yeah.
bloat after every time I ate, and then it would kind of go down, not all the way, and then go back. And then it was like just uncomfortable every time after I ate. And then my bowel movements were soft and then energy was bad. I should say it wasn't horrible, but I definitely crashed in the afternoon. And at night, I just was like dead to the world after I got through my work day and got home and got my kids set up. I was done for. Um, and then, yeah, just got just uncomfortable. And then I had cramps as well, kind of throughout the stomach, just depending on what I ate. I could never figure out what it was specifically. I mean, sometimes specifically, and then I took those out. But so anyway, and this was actually a better state than I was 4 years ago. It was worse when I gave up gluten. I already knew about dairy and I'd given up corn. I think gluten and corn and dairy were the big ones that I'd already had given up before I did all the testing. So now the energy's much better. Like it's more consistent. It's funny, the last 3 weeks, like usually I'm more of a morning person. So my energy was better in the morning and then I crashed in the afternoon. Now it's like I have more energy in the afternoon, which is like very weird to me. And like my mornings, I'm kind of like, okay, here I am, whatever. And then like after I eat lunch, so that's why I'm like, maybe it's something I'm eating in the morning. Anyway, energy is better in the afternoon now, and I'm not drinking any coffee or caffeine. And it's better at night. And then my bloating is better. My distension is not gone, but it is probably half what it was, I would say, which is
Okay.
awesome. And I don't get as the discomfort as I did before. Every once in a while, I'll eat, I don't know what, and I'll get like a cramp or like something weird, but I'm like, I don't know where that is coming from, but
Hmm.
generally that is about half what it was.
Hmm.
Um, my sleeping has always been pretty good, but it was funny. I always woke up at like the 3 o'clock, but then could always go back to sleep. And then for a brief moment before I started, I want to say it was before I started the copper toxicity protocol, I didn't wake up at all. Like I just slept through the night. I was like, oh my gosh. But now I'm back to like wake up about 3. I'm like, oh, sure enough, 3 o'clock. And then I can always go back to sleep. I shouldn't say always, but generally go back to sleep. So it's okay. Sleeping has been pretty good. Just that's the only thing. And that could even be a blood sugar thing too, because I try to eat my dinner be done by 6 and then not eat. And I tend to eat more breakfast and lunch, and then I eat a lighter dinner. And then I just don't, eat. I'll have tea or something at night. But so I don't know if maybe I need to add honey at night anyway to see if it's blood sugar that I'm waking up at 3. But anyway, that's where I'm at.
Cool. So, um, to let people into my brain, the first thing I look for as someone's asking a question. And the reason I'm training you guys in this is because I'm not just giving one person advice that's unique to them. You guys can actually learn principles about how to think about your own health as you're listening to these things. So I'm looking for, okay, she's made some improvements. So we've headed in the right direction, even unrelated to diet, we've headed in the right direction. I'm also looking for any symptoms that might sound super food driven, where I'm like, wow, yeah, if we really dug into food for you, there might be some improvements we could make. Now, I could ask her a lot more questions about symptoms if I usually would start asking those if I really thought, ooh, what she said was interesting, and I wonder if there's more there. None of that happened for me. This is kind of what I would expect at this part of the program and what she's doing. I mean, the number of times that someone says they start the copper toxicity protocol and they're getting more nightmares, they're not sleeping as well, they have more anxiety, or their periods are more uncomfortable, whether that's emotionally or physically, like super common. So I'm not bothered by the fact that sleep like went a little worse. Um, like you're able to fall back asleep, which is really great. When I'm thinking about changing anything or focusing on a new thing in your health, you got a couple options. You can just say, I just want to do this just to see if I can make some gains. Because at the end of the day, you're probably like, if you get into an ideal place in your health, you could always get better, right? A lot of people who enter this program, you've spent a lot of time not even at okay, right? But there's plenty of people out there who are not just okay, they're doing very well in their health. And there's always things they could do to tweak and improve things to say, now I have even more energy. Now I, you know, injure myself less when I do athletic feats, or right. So there's a continuum of where is her question falling, and like where do you want to be, right? So when I hear your question about the food, the biggest thing I hear you reflecting on, and you say it a couple times, is that it's stressful to you. And that is not the ideal relationship to have with food. And you're aware of it. Like you said solution, stop doing that, right? I would be really intrigued what it could feel like for you to do the opposite of, instead of hyper analyzing, and hyperanalysis has its role. Like, I'm not saying hyperanalysis is always a bad thing, but try out the opposite and do some intuitive eating. Now, there are coaches out there who do talk about like their whole thing is intuitive eating. And that's where I tend to lean with most of my clients. I get the best results for myself and for most of my clients when it comes to intuitive eating. So, if you're hungry, eat. Like, if that's 10 small meals a day, do that. If it's two bigger meals and you have an intermittent fasting window, do that. Some people don't even know what feels good for them, partly because the pathogens are messing with their bodies so much, right? Candida can cause sugar cravings. So that is hijacking your brain so you don't even have a genuine relationship with your own body. But you, Krista, you're further into the program. I have more reason to believe that you probably have a somewhat better relationship with, you have a higher likelihood you're going to be able to listen to what your body needs. So I'd be really interested. You said you try to stop eating at 6 p.m. Well, are you interested in eating later? And like, is it 8? Is it 9? Is it 10? And if you eat later, as long as it doesn't cause negative symptoms, do you actually potentially feel better? I don't follow any weird protocols about like, don't eat after 7. I don't. I think I used to. I tried once. It just felt really, really restrictive. Now am I eating like a half of a cup of ice cream right before bed? No, I that definitely does not make me feel good. And I usually wake up with a bellyache. I haven't done it in such a long time, but I can remember doing it. Um, One thing to consider if you're considering something late night is typically things that have fat in them and protein are going to be good. So like a peanut butter. And then if you want something sweet, which I'm not inherently against, apple, like slices of apple with some peanut butter, and just see that peanut butter is going to give you some of that slower release energy. And if you sleeping through the night is a matter of calories and blood sugar, that might do it, right? You could also try something that's less sugar, like a boiled egg. And you don't necessarily have to hire a nutritionist because I find that nutritionists and dietitians, while they can get into the nitty-gritty with you and they'll do this whole analysis and they'll ask you, what do you eat in a week? And they'll have you tweak a bunch of stuff. They're helping you guess at the end of the day. They're just helping you guess, right? They're like, oh, it sounds like a histamine sensitivity. And they'll then give you some guidelines on here's how to change your diet related to that. But if you can give a good guess yourself and then you can change it and observe, wow, do I sleep better when I eat an egg at 8 p.m. before bed? Or, or an apple, and then you don't need another coach. You're probably in the tweaking range of things. I don't get the sense that like that you need to overhaul your entire diet. You already did that by doing things like a Zoomer and like avoiding oxalates. That's a big overhaul. What we actually want to start creeping back towards is a lot of freedom with food. Um, like I have limitations, but I feel very free within my limitations because I eat the quantities I want. I eat when I want. The things that matter, the things that make me feel vibrant in my health, I'm able to achieve even while not eating corn and rice and dairy and wheat. So that's me like externally processing some of my thoughts. And so you can hear what I'm thinking. What is your reaction? Like, are there specific things that are coming up that you're like, actually, Allison, I'm really concerned about very specific thing, and it makes me think a dietitian or a nutritionist would be helpful. Like, is there something, or what else is coming up for you as you hear my response?
No, I think what you're saying is kind of what I figured. I guess I didn't know. I do I know I feel better like if I get enough like protein or whatever, just because I can't with my job I can't eat all
You
the
can eat
time.
smaller
So I
portions. Yeah, you and I, yeah, we talked about that last time. I remember that now.
have so I do know and but I think I just need to get out of my head and like because I try to add, you know, the seeds and the I don't know, nuts or whatever, like to get like a full micro macronutrient like profile every day or to try to get as best as I can. So I think I just need to like just let go of that for a moment. Because then I always guess like when I bloat or if I'm lethargic after I eat, or you don't feel good after you eat, like was that because I put hemp seeds and
Mm,
whatever in my millet or whatever, like is it from that or is it from
sure.
just the way it is? So I think I need to just ignore all of that stuff for, I don't know, a couple weeks or something and see, and just like you said, eat just more basic.
Not necessarily basic, eat in a way that like things that you like that like I actually be very honest, I especially right now, like having a daughter, being pregnant, there's a lot of foods I'm eating the same things of. I'm not eating kale. I'm eating a lot of romaine lettuce because I can get heads of lettuce and I put it onto my sandwiches. I'm not building salads because I need more energy dense food. So I'm eating more either potatoes or meat or avocado or cheese, things that are like dense. Um, I I could easily, anybody could nitpick what I do and say, ah, you should eat more fruit that has vitamin C in it naturally or whatever. Like anybody could nitpick it. Even I will sometimes do a mental audit of like, am I relying too much on almond flour crackers or like, am I eating just like too much peanuts in general? Because peanuts and almonds, I'll have like almond milk and then I'll have almond flour crackers and then we have almond flour muffins. And I'm like, but I feel fine. And that's where I come back to the symptoms. And I know I make these like double chocolate, peanut butter protein muffins.
Mm.
And I eat that for breakfast almost every single day. And occasionally I'll alternate and it'll be like, it's 30 grams of protein because I had collagen powder and then there's almond flour and then there's peanut butter in it. And there are chocolate chips that are dairy free, but there's like true sugar in that thing. And then it has bananas in it, and it tastes sweet and yummy to me. And my daughter literally thinks when she eats them that she's eating cake for breakfast. Like,
Yeah.
but I know the nutritional value and I look forward to it and I enjoy it. And I'm not like, oh, it has to be eggs. My husband likes more savory stuff for breakfast. So he'll eat like eggs and cream cheese and spam. He's a spam guy because he's Filipino. Anyways, so it's fake meat and he eats, you just roll with it. He enjoys it. That's really good. How we feel about food when we eat it matters. I wish it mattered more because a lot of people enjoy food that makes them feel really horrible.
Mhm.
But there can be that component too of just learning to trust it. And that would be a great test. I like that you said try it for a few weeks. Think maybe what one thing that would be an interesting thing, Krista, if I were you or if I had a vision for how this might go, either go to Pinterest or Google like 20 ideas for ways to eat protein and look at it and be like, oh, I haven't eaten bacon in a long time. That'd be fun to make, grass-fed bacon. Or like just look through it and see what what excites you to eat or what looks like yummy, even if it's something you eat all the time, and even if it becomes something you eat every day. I just don't think it's like there's cultures around the world that ate way more like if you were Mediterranean, you ate very similar foods all the time, right? It was the olives and it was, goat cheeses and it was fish and they weren't eating the herbs that were in India, like turmeric and stuff, and they were fine.
Right.
So, I'd say, yeah, whatever you feel good, whatever interests you, and it might be more fun to start to stir your brain juices of, is there anything that you're not even like isn't on your radar that you could actually eat that would be really enjoyable?
Yeah, I will do that. And I'm still like the big things I had to get rid of on the short term were eggs, almonds, salmon.
Oh,
Those are like my
right,
major,
like,
like I
oh, but
can't
you're in the
wait to go
short
back
term.
to
Yeah,
those.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
But they weren't like peptide levels. So I know that I will eventually hopefully be able to go back to those, but I am
Yeah,
off of those right now. So it makes it a little trickier,
sure.
um, especially with, yeah, I mean, I'm still eating oxalates. I just a little more mindful. I'm not buying spinach, and I'm not
Right. You're not making spinach smoothies.
right. And then histamine too. I've always had an issue kind of with histamine. So then I'm like, oh geez. So then that's histamine foods too. So
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
oh. So I'm trying to like,
Fermented foods, processed foods, um, older foods. So yeah,
yeah, and that's tricky because I have to meal prep on the weekends because
that's when you
I
have
just don't
time.
have time
Eat
during the week.
easy.
And then of course that's
Right.
histamine, right? So I'm like,
By Friday, your meal's driving you nuts. No. Um, so have you tried things like DAO with your meals to smooth
um,
over histamine
not
exposure?
yet. I need to. I'm going to put in an order at Full Script, so I'm going to add one and then try that.
Yeah, it'd be super interesting because histamine really shouldn't be a long-term issue, but while it still is, like if you're like, yeah, the symptoms look like histamine, the likely source of these symptoms is probably that thing that was releasing histamine. And remember, histamine can get released by more than food. It can get released by stress hormones. If you're stressed about eating, that's going to release histamine.
Mhm.
Um, so we are playing with this like funny internal growth situation where there's like the what to do, and we do want to give you that in the blueprint of like really clear guidance on what to do, but then sometimes it's not so much the what but the how.
Mhm.
Um, so I think the DAO might be a really fun, nifty trick that might help smooth over if you are getting higher exposure to histamine for one reason or another.
Okay.
And then you'll get into the reintroduction phase for food restrictions once you're like based off of the five things you mentioned, your energy, your bloating, distension, cramping, and sleep, you're very on your way to being at a good spot to reintroduce. Because you want to have your symptoms be very minimal or
Mhm.
gone. And so even the fact that the cramping's so infrequent, there's no pattern to it and you can't figure it out, that to me is, I would call that gone, actually. And that's another thing that's like a mental mindset shift is and it takes time to unlearn this or learn it, however you want to think it, but not reacting to every symptom like, do I need to track it? Do I need to like react and trying to figure out why it happened? A lot of times it's, well, let's see if it happens tomorrow. Let's see if it happens for 3 days in a row. Let's see, does it happen every Friday? Like, is there a pattern to it? And if there's not, it's like it happens once in a blue moon. You just be like, no one's everybody's gets weird flukes. I do. I've had so many weird flukes just
Yeah,
randomly.
right.
So I'm excited for you. I think all this is great. And I do think that if you got a coach with food, it might push you in the more it would deeper, like even deeper into that hyperanalysis, which might actually be much less comfortable, opposed to enlightenment, which is ideally if you hire a nutritionist or a dietitian, you want to feel relief, like, oh, this makes so much more sense. I'm getting some clarity, opposed to burden or like
Right.
that hyper like analysis situation.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right.